it's Jessie. Today I am drinking super cheap red wine microwaved into pretty bad mulled wine. And I'm here to talk about the series I have in progress right now, series I need to continue. This has been, I'm doing this for two reasons. One, this has kind of been a bit of a trend lately. I've seen a lot of booktubers doing these videos, so I figured why not hop on the bandwagon. But also, I recently updated my series spreadsheet and I'm pretty excited about it because it's really neat and organized. So I like talking about my spreadsheets when I update them. So anyway, I have on my spreadsheet, so my old spreadsheet was just every series I read, whether I finished it, unfinished it, yada yada, for the past like year and a half, 2 years. And it has 40 series on it, but that includes unread series, or finished series and DNF series. So not the best count, but 40 on this list. 7 of these are ones I'm unsure about, so they're ones I'm not necessarily going to continue in. So I'm going to start with those so you can kind of give me your opinion down in the comments if you think I should continue these series or not. And I'll try to talk about why I'm unsure about continuing them, just to give you kind of an idea. So the first of these is the Pandava Quartet by Roshani Chokshi. The first of these is the Pandava Quartet by Roshani Chokshi. I don't know why her name is so hard for me. Anyway, I read the first one of these. I don't even remember why I read it. Oh, it was for Asian readathon at one point or another. And it was cute, but like it's a middle grade. And I think sometimes I struggle with whether I want to continue middle grade. So that's really the only reason I haven't continued, was because it's a middle grade and that doesn't get me super excited. I feel like I was unfair to this earlier, so I want to be very clear. I don't have anything against microwave mulled wine. In fact, I think it's a great alternative when you want to make a single glass of mulled wine instead of an entire crock pot. It's just this was really bad red wine I was using. Anyway, so continuing those uncertain series, the next one I have on here is The Burning by Evan Winter. I read the first one, The Rage of Dragons, and I thought it was okay, but I had some problems with it. Now, everybody says all of those problems I had get addressed in the next one, but I just haven't gotten around to reading it, and I just don't feel that excited about reading it, you know? I do want to. There's things I'm curious about, but like I don't even like remember the characters that well from the first one, so it's the kind of thing where like if I read the second one, I'd either have to like reread the first one or at least like get an idea of what happened in the first one in order to move on, and I'm just not sure I want to commit to that, you know? Next is Flavia de Luce by by Alan Bradley. This is like a middle grade, maybe young adult, somewhere in there kind of mystery series. Read the first one because it's one of my students' favorite books. Students like 2 years ago now. So that's why I read it at the time. It was cute. It might be something I'll pick up if I'm like in the mood for a mystery and I see like another book in the series, I might pick it up, but like I'm not gonna make it a priority to actually read it as a series. Next is The Diviners by Libba Bray. The first book was okay. I've heard like the second and the third book are really good, but then the final book is a huge letdown, so I really don't know what the point would be of continuing if that is the case. There were some characters I really liked, but I mean, it just didn't stick with me that much. I unhauled the first book because it just didn't really speak to me that much, so that's why that's in that uncertain category. Next is the Queen's Thief series by Megan Wayland Turner. I read the first book, The Thief, because it's one of my friend's like favorites. Not favorites, but he really enjoyed reading them. And so I picked it up and it was fine. It was good. It was cute. It just wasn't as, I find that like in fantasy, I just think I'm seeking something a little bit deeper lately. And it was cute, and there was some really great world building, but like the characters didn't really do it much for me. So it was just fine. It was very cute. It was interesting. It was neat. It just didn't like pull me in. Like where that book ended was a good, satisfying conclusion. So it was like, do I really need to keep going? And finally on here, Malazan Book of the Fallen. I read The Gardens of the Moon. Vlogs for that are coming out as they're coming out. And I just was it was fine. I really liked the ending, so in the fog of like finishing the ending, I was like, yeah, I like this, but then I sat down and thought about it and gathered my thoughts, and I didn't like the way the book made me feel for a lot of it. I felt confused and dumb. And like, here's the thing, I've said it before, I love a book that confuses me. I love a book that makes me feel a little bit stupid. If there's a purpose to that, right? If there's a point, if it's meant to be a little weird. It didn't feel like Malazan was meant to be weird. It feels like it's being intentionally confusing, but not for any reason. It's just not explaining anything. And I just don't like the way it makes me feel. And I also know that like the second book is with different characters than the ones I've come to love. So I don't know if I really want to deal with that. So then, with those out of the way, if we go into the currently in progress series I'm actively trying to read. There are 19 books on the series, and I have this sorted. I love this. Look at this little spreadsheet. It's so cute. I love it so much. Anyway, and they're sorted into 4 categories. Those 4 categories from like sort of highest to lowest priority, I guess, to put it in there, is it's published and it is available for me to read. I could read it whenever I wanted. It is published, but it's not currently available to me for one reason or another. It's not published at all, or I'm currently reading it, so I'm not, like, it's a priority because I'm reading it, but like I don't need to like push myself to read it, if that made sense. So we're gonna start with those last 2 because they're the ones I'm gonna have the least to say about. So the ones I'm currently reading right now, currently making progress in. Fool's Errand, which is the first of the Tawny Man trilogy. These are the other 2 in it because Fool's Errand is over in my bedroom because I'm currently reading it. This is the 3rd of the Realm of the Elderling series, and it's the first book in that trilogy. Currently reading it. Next on currently reading, Die Jagd beginnt, which is The Great Hunt in German. I've been reading that for over a year now. It's whatever, I'm making very slow progress on reading in German because it's hard to read in a language outside of your native language. Next is The Wall of Storms, which is the 2nd book in the Dandelion Dynasty by Ken Liu. This is, I started this I got the first book was recommended to me by a librarian and I really liked it, but I wasn't sure I wanted to continue it. But then I talked to a few people that have read it and said the rest of the series is definitely worth it. And so I have picked up the 2nd one and so far liking it differently than the first. I don't know if I can definitively say if I like it more or less until I get to the end, but it's definitely different. And then the 3rd one that I'm currently reading is Jade Ward, which is the 2nd for the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. The Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. That took me a while. And I'm liking it. I'm liking it at the point that I'm at in Jade Ward. I'm liking it about how much I liked Jade City at this point. So we'll see. I will probably almost definitely go through the same situation here, which is that I will get a week of reading it, get about 20% of the way and be really hooked, and then the loan will return and I'll have to wait another month. So those are the ones I'm currently reading. The series that are in progress, but the next book isn't published yet, so just not even out yet, are Into the Dying Light from the Age of Darkness. I think this is the conclusion to this trilogy. I started this because it kind of sounded cute. It's like a young adult fantasy. It's cute. I don't remember it that distinctly, so this might be a case by the time the 3rd one comes out, I've lost the interest, but I still I want to finish it, and I think it's mostly for the feeling of completion. This one might be out by the time I'm doing this video. I haven't checked to double check that, but I don't think it's out yet. Next is Fevered Star, which is the sequel to Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I already have it pre-ordered. I cannot wait to read that one. Really excited for it. The Lost Metal, which is the 4th book in Mistborn Era 2. This will be like when I get to it, it won't be like a rush to get when it's published. I don't like Mistborn Era 2, I just want to finish it, be done with it. Nona the Ninth, which is the 3rd book in the Locked Tomb series. I haven't pre-ordered this one yet, but I will, probably. And The Merciless One, which is the sequel, the 2nd book in the Deathless series by Namina Forna. This is the 1st book is The Gilded Ones. This is another one I'm not super in a rush to get to, but I did like the 1st one enough, and I'm trying to a certain extent to stay up to date on books that I think my students, my kids might like, so I have stuff to recommend them. And given that The Gilded Ones is one of the books that we have in our classroom libraries, I want to stay up to date on this series. And the last one on my list that is not yet published is A Prayer for the Crown Shy, which is the second book in the Monk and Robot series by Becky Chambers. It was the first book, what is the first book called? A Psalm for the Wild Bill. Was super cute. I don't really know where this series is going to go. I imagine she's going to do something similar with this as to what she did with the Wayfarer series. I was going to say Monk and Robot implies it's about the same characters, but Wayfarer implies that it's about the Wayfarer ship, and it was not. So I assume this will be something similar where each novella will follow a different character, different characters, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. All right, and that takes this list down to, I should have counted this already, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I did my math right, 9 books that are published, and either I currently have them in some capacity or don't currently have them in some capacity. And I will go through those ones. So, in no particular, just in the order they're listed, that's the order. The Wayward Children, Across the Greengrass Fields, and I know there's another book out after that, but that's where I'm at in the Wayward Children series. And this is one I can get them from Scribd anytime I want. I just need to do it. I know I like to let these build up. So this is kind of an intentional thing because they're novellas, because they're so short. I like letting them build up, and I'll wait till there's like 3 or 4 out, and then I will read them, which is really killing me because I really want to read Where the Drowned Girls Go. So maybe I'll throw that out the window and just read at some point. Rhythm of War, book 4, The Stormlight Archive. I had the first 3, I had them in mass market paperback, so I want to make sure I get the 4th one in mass market paperback, and I don't know, is that even out yet? I know I checked last year around like November because I was going to put it on my Christmas list and it wasn't out yet, so I don't even know if that's available as a mass market paperback yet, but I'm going to wait and get it in that format so it matches the rest of mine. Next, Discworld, Reaper Man, so specifically the Death series in Discworld. This is one of those ones that's on like that edge of like, is this really a series I'm going to continue? Because I didn't love Mort the way everybody else seems to love Mort. And I think part of that was reading it on ebook was just a cursed experience for me. Terry Pratchett hates chapters, and that's really frustrating for me. I just don't love reading ebook, and I definitely was at the time I read this very out of practice reading ebook. I'm more in practice now because I've been reading them on the Metro. So I would like to read Reaper Man at some point, but I would prefer to read Reaper Man in a different format. So I'm going to check, see if maybe my library has it as a physical book. I know I can't get the audiobook unless I buy it through Audible, and I don't want to do that because I don't want to buy books from Amazon if I can avoid it. So this is kind of indefinitely on hold until like I can get a hold of the book in a format that's going to give it a better chance of being successful for me. Next is Best Served Cold, which is the first of the standalones in the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. Also, this is another one I'm kind of on the fence about. I really hated how the First Law trilogy ended. One thing in particular, which I think I go into in my First Law trilogy review, and literally no one I've talked to has told me it's handled at all in the future books, and that really doesn't make me want to continue. And like every time I think of reading Best Served Cold, all I can think of is that one thing and the fact that it's not going to be handled, and I don't want to deal with that. So I haven't continued that yet. I think probably I will one day, but just I'm going to need to be in the right mind space to do it. Currently one that I do have available, I think I have this, I either have it as an ebook or it's available on Scribd, one or the other, which is When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain from the Singing Hills by Nebo, which is the first of that is The Empress of Salt and Fortune. And it's this kind of this monk, is that the word I want to use? Monk? I use the word monk, but I don't think that's the word that's used in the book. It's definitely not priest. Anyway, monk that's traveling and collecting stories as they travel. Next, Fugitive Telemetry from the Murderbot Diaries. I can probably get this through my library as an audiobook. I just have to put it on hold. Here's another one where I've kind of run out of steam on it. I read a bunch of them in a row and then paused on accident and not sure I really have the enthusiasm to continue. Next one that I have available is Drowned Country. This is the second book in the Green Hollow duology. This is on Scribd. I can read it literally anytime I want, and I just haven't. The first book in this is by Emily Tesh. The first one is the Silver in the Woods. It's a short novella. I'm sure it won't take me that long to read. I just have to like sit down and read it. Currently available, Haven is the third volume of Monstrous. I actually have that out from the library. That's probably the next thing I'm gonna read. This, honestly, by the time this video comes out, I may have finished the Monstrous series, so this might be a dumb one to even include. And next, Take a Hint, Dani Brown by Talia Hibbert, the second in the Brown Sisters trilogy. This is already on hold in the library. I can't wait to keep reading this series. I'm really, really excited for it. And it occurs to me while I was talking, I guess I could have paused in that sentence somewhere. One of the things that occurred to me is that, talking about the Wayward Children, I don't have on here whatever the Middle Game series is called. Is it just Middle Game #1? Is that the name of the series? I hate that. This is a random rant, but a big pet peeve of mine is when series are named after just whatever the first book in the series is called. It bothers me. Anyway, the second Middle Game book isn't out yet. It's coming out this year. So this one isn't coming out till May of this year, but this should also be on there as another one that's in the unpublished category, so I'm going to add that. That actually puts me at an even 20 books that I currently have actively in progress. Anyway, it doesn't change that number of 9 that are the ones that like I could be reading because they are published and I'm not already actively reading it. That's the number of series that I have like in progress. So 20 series in progress total, 7 series that I'm uncertain about maybe continuing, and 9 series I actively could be making progress on because the books are published. I think that covers everything. Let me know down below, 1, those uncertain series, any of them you would really push me to continue, and then on the series that I do have in progress, which ones are you most interested, because I don't do reviews until I finish a series, so I guess just let me know which series you're most excited to hear reviews from, reviews about from me, because then I will try to prioritize those a little bit more so I can get you my thoughts on those. That's it for me. Make sure you hit subscribe if you're interested in seeing more from me, and love y'all. Bye.